This is the daily wrestling news for March 1st, 2021, St. Patrick's Day. We are powered by the Eastern Observer. My name is Ryan Joy, and I'm coming to you live from Minutes to Bell Time Studios on the beautiful Treasure Coast of the Sunshine State. And I am joined today by a man that's been all over AEW Dark this year and Coastal Championship Wrestling star, Jake St. Patrick. Good morning, Jake. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man.
And it is March. So I think, we can officially say, I know in your world, every day is St. Patrick's Day, but I think, it's March now. So I think the celebration can begin.
And what's crazy is that this is my birthday month.
Oh, okay. Is March 17th your birthday? Is that the no? Okay.
No. March 31st is my real birthday.
Okay. Well, I guess that's my very first question is about St. Patrick's Day. I mean, you're celebrating it all year round. It's your name. What's the inspiration and about using St. Patrick and St. Patrick's Day?
Well, I'm pretty sure everyone has heard of the man named Daniel Bryan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so his real name is Bryan Danielson. So all you do is just flip the name and make Daniel Bryan. My real name is Patrick Jake. I just changed it. That was it. There was really no creative process towards it. In choosing that name, it was Kirkpatrick, Kilpatrick, St. Patrick. I landed on St. Patrick, and now every day is St. Patrick's Day.
All right. I didn't know if you were going to be like, well, I used to be a real big Jameson whiskey guy or something like that. I was like, man, that answer could have been anything. but
really very minimal thought process to that.
Awesome. Well, we were talking before that you are originally from Illinois. You told me that you just moved down here in September. Mm-hmm. I guess I wanted to ask you about Chicago crowds and compare them against Florida crowds, just to kind of start things off.
Oh man, I will say this. Chicago crowds can get rowdy, but that's most of the time that's a good thing. Most of the time that's a very, very good thing. Florida crowds, I would say they're more reserved. To whereas I don't know, Chicago crowds, they're just into it the entire time. It's not like I would relate a Florida crowd to kind of like a golf crowd. They wait for that. There it is. As opposed to Chicago crowds, no, they are noisy the entire time. Like people in Chicago crowds, they go home losing their voice. So I would definitely say that the Chicago crowds do have the Florida crowds beat, in my opinion, as far as like crowd participation, crowd noise, and all that. Do have their moments.
Yeah. But we have wrestling going on right now, so in Florida. So
yes. I will say this though. At Coastal Championship Wrestling, those have been honestly the best crowds that I had performed in front of.
That's awesome. So I want to ask you actually about an upcoming. Look, here's Nelio chiming in. Florida crowds still the best crowds in the world. They don't try to hijack the show. There you go. So I want to ask you about your upcoming match. So it's first reported by Wrestling Paradox Podcast. You're wrestling Pharaoh Johnson this weekend at Bash at the Brew 2. They called it a student versus teacher match. Johnson saw the announcement and he said, explicative, I'm no student. So what would you say to him?
I will say this. I played a very, very, very small role in the training of Pharaoh Johnson. He was also trained by Pablo Marquez. So we received similar training because Pablo Marquez is also my trainer. I will say that Pharaoh knows a lot. But when it comes to knowledge and experience, I got the upper hand.
All right. Well, that was a very balanced response to his explicative. I'm just.
But please believe, this weekend I will be taking him to school.
Very good. Very good. So, and CCW recently announced that you're going to be part of the training team every other Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the spirit of taking Pharaoh Johnson to school, what's the biggest thing that you think, to the training facility, and what's the single most important thing that you want students to take away from working with you?
I want the students to be evenly balanced in every aspect of training for professional wrestling, whether it comes to their cardio, their chain wrestling, their in-ring charisma, the promos. I want to work on, because I'm a perfectionist. So I like to be not just good, but great at everything, at every aspect of professional wrestling. And in being trained in Illinois and then also being trained down here in Florida, I kind of want to give that back to students who are coming after me. Like professional wrestling has been a part of my life since I was 5 years old. So, with that being said, I just want to give back to the guys and girls who come under me, so that way I can, for some odd way, have some satisfaction and train that guy.
There you go.
Train that girl.
So,
because there are a lot of wrestlers that I see and have worked with that I feel need to have a little bit more training. So, again, with that, I like, even when I see them in matches and things like that, and I'm on shows with them, I'll pull them off to the side and say, "Hey, good match." And then I would definitely want someone to do the same for me, and it has been done to me before. Even today, I still get guys and gals who come up to me after my match or whatever, and they'll say, "Hey, that was a good match, but you could have did this, or you could have done that, or you could." And I'm, nice, you're right. And I'll look back at my match like, "Oh my God, they're absolutely right. I could have done that. I should have done that." So that's what I'm trying to give back to the pro wrestling universe.
Nice. So you mentioned in that comment right there, that answer, that wrestling has been a part of your life since you were 5 years old. So you've been studying wrestling for a long time. You're a wrestler yourself. Who are some of the people that inspired you to get into wrestling, and then who are some of the people that have inspired your style?
I guess I can answer both of those questions with the same three people.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, and Bret the Hitman Hart.
All amazing wrestlers.
I take my style of wrestling from all three of those guys. I've heard Ric Flair say this before, and I will agree with this statement. He has said that Shawn Michaels is probably one of the best, if not the best, professional wrestlers of all time. And the first time I set eyes on Shawn Michaels, he was part of the Rockers with Marty Jannetty. And ever since I first laid eyes on him and what he could do in that ring, I was like, yep, that's it right there. That's what I want to be. And then moving forward, I watched Bret the Hitman Hart matches and how he would sell, and how he was just so technically sound and gifted, and how he could just tell a story. And the same thing with Ric Flair, how he could sell, how he could tell stories, how they would move in the ring. And it's just like, oh my God, this is it. This is what I want to be. And watching those three guys, that sets kind of a high bar because of who they are. I mean, those are three huge names that could possibly be on the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. So yeah, those three men definitely highly influenced me as a child, and still today highly influence me.
Wow. Okay. And so, so people can see you on the most recent episode of CCW Live, episode 1.23. You're wrestling Hector Perfecto. I guess I want to ask, if people go watch that, are they going to see little bits of Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, and Bret Hart in that match?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're going to see that in every match I have. You're gonna see some of the technical styles. You're gonna see some of the selling. You're gonna see some of the storytelling. You're gonna you put. I try to give. Here's what I do. I try to never have a bad match, regardless of who I'm in the ring with. I don't care if you just finished your training yesterday, if you're still training today, or if you're a 15-year veteran. I'm going to try to have match of the night. I'm going to try to have match of the year, to be perfectly honest. That goes back to me being a perfectionist. I pride myself on never having bad matches. Not saying that I never had them, but I just pride myself on not having them.
Right. Well, that wasn't a bad one. And Neilio chiming again, Hector reminds me a little of HBK as well. It's interesting because you're not the first person I've had on this show that has said HBK. I think Ariel Levy also said HBK as somebody who inspired him. I think I remember specifically you lining up in the corner and doing the pounding on the mat, just like Shawn Michaels. So you definitely are going to see those things shine through when you watch Jake St. Patrick. So there's that match. You have the Pharaoh Johnson match coming up here. If people are hearing about you for the first time though today, what match out there in the universe would you send them to go watch to get the flavor of Jake St. Patrick?
You know what? I'm going to one of my shortest matches, but probably one of my best short matches would be the Evolve match I had versus Pat Monix.
Okay.
It's on the WWE Network. It's on my YouTube channel. Go search for it if you want to. Jake St. Patrick versus Pat Monix at Evolve. I want to say it's 141 or 142. One of those Evolves. But yeah, go to your YouTube bar, type in Jake St. Patrick versus Pat Monix, and it should pop right up. That match is a short, sweet, and to the point type of match.
You are from the comments section here in the you are getting praise from folks as they're watching the show. So
Rude. Hey,
yeah,
good guy.
So you were on AEW Dark. You had several matches actually at this point. You worked against Powerhouse Hobbs, Brian Cage, Preston Vance, Butcher, and the Blade.
Yep.
It seems they emptied the locker room of enormous guys to throw at you. So I was wanting to ask, is that something that you seek out? Like, I want to work the biggest guy, or is that just kind of the hand you were dealt?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I like challenges, and bigger guys challenges. I want to be able to lift those big old guys up over my shoulder and say, hey, I can actually lift this guy too, even though he can lift me with ease. It'll get me a little while to get him up, but I love a challenge. So I didn't mind it when they brought tanks and bulldozers my way.
Well, I think everybody who's watched that Powerhouse Hobbs and some of the subsequent matches there, when Hook has his debut match, I hope it's against you so you can get even with that guy.
Oh yeah, I definitely owe Hook a couple hooks.
There you go. So in regards to the AEW piece, we always hear that AEW has like this great healthy locker room and the backstage area so welcoming. What did you think, having been there several times? What did you think of that working environment and stuff?
I'll keep it short, sweet, and to the point. When you have guys like Chris Jericho, Sting, and Jerry Lynn walking up to you and introducing themselves to you, that should let you know right there that this it's one of those locker rooms that's you don't have to walk on eggshells. You don't have to stand in a corner and worry if you're going to step on anyone's toes. Like, everyone is so welcoming and so humble and so nice. And like when those three would walk up to me and introduce themselves, I'm like, I would literally, I'm Jake. Like, it's very humbling. It's a very humbling experience. But yes, I would definitely say that locker room is 1,000% great. Everyone is just so welcoming and so nice, and if you need help or if you need advice, they're literally standing right there. And you can, get a 5-minute conversation out of Chris Jericho. You can get a 5-minute conversation out of Sting, and when you can do that with guys like that I've watched on TV when I was a kid, and when you can do that, it's, oh man, it's honestly, it's one of the best feelings in the world.
And okay, so we talked about the big guys, and you talked about all the experienced people in the back. They just signed the Big Show. So are we gonna see Jake St. Patrick come in to wrestle the Big Show? It's the biggest of big guys, right?
Oh man, that's a big man. I've never met him face to face before, so I honestly have not witnessed how big he really is.
Yeah. Well, if they need somebody to wrestle a big guy, I think your resume, Brian Cage, Will Knox. Yep, you got it.
I'll be at the front of that list.
There you go. So, kind of a serious question, but what do you think in the world of wrestling? What stereotype or stigma exists that you don't think is accurate, and in the world of wrestling fans in the community need to drop?
That this is fake.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but there's no, you can't fake bumps, you can't fake bruises, you can't fake scars, you can't fake injuries. Like what we do, I dislike very strongly the word fake, because football isn't fake. They get hit.
Mm-hmm.
They get hit, and so do we. We get hit. I have missing teeth to prove it. The guys have scars from surgeries to prove it. This is very, very real. But again, those people who say that it's fake or whatever, I would just challenge them to get in the ring for one day. Get in the ring for one day, and you'll find out how fake this really is.
So I watched The Young Rock last week, and that was how the show ended. Was in he's in high school, and somebody says, "Oh, it's all fake anyway." And he hauls off and knocks the guy out. So I think that's a widespread thing that we all feel. It's like, we don't want to hear that.
Because trust me, we put too much. We're literally putting our bodies on the line for someone to say that it's fake. I mean, I relate it like this. When they go and watch these Marvel movies, they don't look at the screen and it's fake. We're literally doing the same exact thing. We're doing stunts, only we are the stunt men. Yep. We don't have bungees and strings holding us up, tying us to make us fly around. No, it's us, just us.
So I asked you the question about, who are the people that you watched kind of like, growing up that inspired you? And so the same question, but slightly different. Who are some of the people that you've worked with in wrestling that actually inspire your work?
Oh, that's a very long list. That's a very long list. I will definitely say one of the top ones would definitely be my trainer from Illinois, Jordan Perry. Definitely an inspiration. We're both the same size. He's accomplished a lot in his independent career. So I definitely say he's one of my inspirations. Pablo Marquez, my trainer from here in Florida, definitely an inspiration to me. And I've been in the ring with both of them. Jordan Perry was my trainer in Illinois. Jordan Perry was one of my first matches. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, he was my first singles match.
Okay.
Pablo Marquez, I've been in the ring with him as well. When he teamed with Sabu, learned a lot from him. Matt Striker, that man, he came in, and so we had a match. It was a tag team TLC match for the CCW Tag Team Championships. It was Will Austin and Matt Striker versus myself and AJ Francis versus American Horror Story with Alex Ocean and Agony. And we all had ideas of what we wanted to do. Everybody had ideas of what we wanted to do. And Matt Striker comes in, puts his bag down, and I mean quarterbacks that like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. I'm talking about he put everything together like a puzzle. It was like, okay, I have my pieces over here. AJ has his pieces over here. Agony has his pieces. Alex has his pieces. Will has his pieces. And Matt Striker just said, and put it all together. That is a very, very smart man.
That's an incredible story. When Impact Wrestling announced that Matt was going to be doing their commentary, I have to admit I was like a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I like that. You know, I really like the Josh and Madison team, but since him and D'Lo have been on, I think that team is really, really good, really strong.
And yeah, their chemistry is man, and I don't know if they've done this together before, but it seems like the way they react to each other and the chemistry that they have, that they've been doing this with each other for quite a while.
Right.
But again, that credits to them being professionals and being in this business for decades, to where, you know, like, you can pick up stuff like that. Very, especially smart guys like Matt Striker. Now, I never met D'Lo Brown. I would love to meet him. But guys like Matt Striker, there's something in them that they just get it.
Yeah, it sounds it based on the story that you mentioned and what we see come through the television. So, general, wide question. What's the most exciting thing about seeing Jake St. Patrick wrestle?
The most exciting thing about seeing me wrestle, you're going to get a show. You are guaranteed to be entertained once my music hits and I step through that curtain. From the time I step through the curtain, when my music hits, to the time I step back through the curtain, going back to the locker room, you are going to be sports entertained. That is a guarantee.
Yeah, the Florida crowd that you mentioned, that's one of the times they pop, right? Is when Jake St. Patrick's music comes out.
Now, you know what? Sometimes it takes a little bit. Like, my music hit, I'll come out and I'm like, oh, you guys are quiet? We're going to try that again. Get loud. And then they'll, like, yeah, that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear no crickets. You better make some noise when I come out here.
So you've been at this for a good period of time now, but what's different about Jake St. Patrick 1 year from today?
I will say 1 year ago today was right before Corona and COVID hit. I would say I was at a place where I felt like I had plateaued. I feel like I was starting to feel like, man, is this the level that I'm going to hit? Am I not going to, be at a higher level than what I am right now? And I guess part of that was being back home in Chicago. I did not want to be home. But family stuff called, so I needed to be home. But once all that stuff got taken care of, and I was like, okay, back to Florida I go, because I just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere when I was at home in Chicago. And that's nothing against any Chicago professional wrestling promotions at all. It was just something personal for me that I felt like I wasn't going to get where I'm trying to go being home in Illinois. So a year ago today, that I would say that's probably where I was in my professional wrestling career.
And where do you see yourself a year from now?
Oh, I'm going to be signed somewhere.
Okay.
I can't say for sure where, but I'm going to be signed somewhere. I'm signing a contract before the end of this year is up. I wholeheartedly believe that.
Awesome. Love that confidence. So I heard you in an interview recently say that in terms of active wrestlers, Adam Cole was somebody that you would like to work with. So I want to expand that question and say, anyone in the history of wrestling, not just the active, anyone in the history of wrestling, who would you like to work with?
Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, you could have seen that one coming.
If there's one name and one name alone that I would have to pick, if you said just one name, one person in the entire history of professional wrestling, Shawn Michaels, hands down. The reason why I'm even in this business in the first place is Shawn Michaels.
What's your favorite What's your favorite like cross section of Shawn Michaels? Where would you want to wrestle the Rockers Shawn Michaels, the DX Shawn Michaels, the one that wrestled Bret Hart in the Iron Man match? Where in the history of Shawn Michaels would you most want to?
Can I get all of them? Oh, you know what? Honestly, I would say if I had to pick a specific Shawn Michaels, I would say the Shawn Michaels that came back. Was it 2001?
Mm-hmm.
That Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. Okay.
The one that found his smile again
Okay.
and had purpose. That Shawn. The Shawn Michaels that went against Undertaker at WrestleMania. That Shawn Michaels. That's the one I want.
Okay, and then on the Adam Cole thing, what is it about Adam Cole that makes you want to get in the ring with him?
Because he reminds me of Shawn Michaels.
That's funny.
No, right off on that. I just feel like Adam Cole. He's one of those guys that has a total package. Now he's not a very big guy,
mm-hmm.
but he's athletic enough to where he can do moves like. Honestly, I don't think Adam Cole has had a bad match. I haven't seen him have a bad match. He has the charisma. You know, he's just a natural born heel where he just he'll get heat. He's not a face. He's not a face at all. He's so good at being a heel. And with that, I feel that me and him could definitely have a great match. Again, I pride myself on having great matches. I don't have bad matches. And with Adam Cole, that would definitely be a match of the year candidate, in my opinion.
Sure. Well, I'm going to wrap up here, but before we do, tell everybody where they can go to find Jake St. Patrick on social media and everything like that.
Absolutely. I have a Facebook that will be Jake St. Patrick. Just a regular name, JAKEST Patrick. That's on Facebook. On Twitter, I am at Bangarang Jake. That is BANGERANG Jake, JAKE. And then on Instagram, all lowercase, Jake_Saint with the period Patrick. Also, you can find me on YouTube, Jake St. Patrick Wrestling or Jake St. Patrick Wrestler. I'm going to pop right up. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you would like. Like, comment, share, repost, all of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Do all of those things. I'm going to tell people a few things about other shows they can watch that I'm involved with, and we'll be right back with Jake here in a second. Absolutely. So, first and foremost, the Primetime Rundown. Join Joey Jarzanka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca on Friday nights for the Primetime Rundown. They take you through the world of sports, and the show kicks off at 6 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. And then also the Essential Wrestling Podcast. It returns this Tuesday, that's tomorrow. Al Carl hosts, John Smith, myself, John DeConnie, Gary Mahaffey. We return for another week of updates and highlights in the world of wrestling. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. And then this show, the Daily Wrestling News Show, is here every day, Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. or catch it on demand, podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. Be back tomorrow with Travis to talk about all the news from New Japan that came in over the weekend. So that's the stuff from me. Jake, thank you so much for joining the show this morning and telling everybody about your career and what you have coming up. And we are all here for the moment that Jake St. Patrick signs that contract.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And again, like I said, I have the confidence. I'm going to be signed somewhere by the end of the year. Just wait.
We can't wait to break that story right here on the Daily Wrestling News Show. All right. Thanks, everybody. That's our show for the day. We will see you tomorrow.